Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you some little art hacks that I discovered over time or just recently. And yeah, I like to show it and share it with you and have some fun together. So let's start with the Neo Color tool. And this little trick might be useful for different water soluble art supplies. So let's see. When you have the Neo Colors 2, make sure it is 2, otherwise you're just buying a crayon and it won't be water soluble, right? So they come in this little tin, and if you don't have this palette, it is by Caran d'Ache. You can use the lid, and this is my, it's kind of gross looking, but it is my palette that I take with me when I go on vacation and I want to create some base layering or some backgrounds. And all I do is using this part, I scribble some of it down. It's almost the same color that I tried, I think. And yeah, I can start painting. I can activating it, and because there's a little coating in the tin, it won't create any rust, or it will be okay. And I think it's very nice that you don't have to take extras with you. Just a water brush filled with water. You might want to take a tissue and the set of the nail colors. If you are at home and you want a little bit more fancy, you always can use this little palette, and it's working great, especially when you have the bigger set and it's not really compact, and you pick out some colors and scribble it down on the palette. The palette got a little texture, and crayon is gripping into it. The back side of the palette, it's a very smooth finish. You can see. You can use any marker, water soluble marker on it, and pick it up from the palette, like the Tombows or the Crayola or any kids marker. You can scribble it down and pick it up with your brush and use it as a watercolor. So it's a very nice one to use, but it is a bit pricey. So last week I was shopping, I needed something for the camper, and I discovered if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a palette like this, you don't want to use your Neo Color in the lid of the tin, you can buy a very cheap cutting board. Because on this cutting board there's some texture, and you can use it like the palette. It's around the same size also, and you can get every color you like, but there were only blues in my store, and I think you can get it on every budget store. And because there is some texture, it's so easy. You can use it like this. Do I have a white sheet of paper? Yes. And pick it up. You can activate it, pick it up, and you can create a very, cheap, nice palette for your Neo Colors. It's working great. It's working perfect. You can use whatever you want, and you might like this and want to give it a try instead of buying this one. It's working, almost the same. Only the back side don't have the smooth texture. So, both sides have the texture on it. So we move on to the next thing that I want to show you. And it is this palette. I know, those are very cheap. But when you're first starting out, you might have some things laying around in your house that you can use as a palette. My refrigerator came with those little holders for eggs. And as you can see, It's a perfect size. You can squeeze in some paint and use it as a palette. There are not really places to mix your paint. That's okay. You can just mix it on a different, yeah, space. So that's a nice little trick, right? If you don't use it and you have laying it around, you don't have to spend even €1. I think it's even cheaper than one. I use this one. It's working great. I've used it several times and yeah, working fine for me. But sometimes when you are painting, you have a lot of leftover paint. You are mixing certain colors and it was not the right shade. So you added some extra color and pigments to create a nice, yeah, paint you wanted. And then you have leftover paint. You always can jump in a different coloring page and create tons of backgrounds. And I've done it before, creating 5, 6 backgrounds because I mixed too much paint. And then I spotted something in my kitchen and I think it's just perfect. This ice cube tray comes with this little lid. And if you mix in your paint in those little places, you can cover it up and it stays fresh. And you don't have to use it all at once. And you don't have to waste it. You can just remove the lid and the paint is great to use again. And I think it's a perfect solution. Really cheap. I think you can order it all at so many places online. Just make sure there's this little lid included. So yeah, I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. Especially compared to this one, yeah, you have some mixing places, but there is plenty of space and you cannot really save your paints on this one. I know you can buy professionally artist grade palettes and yeah, but those are expensive. This one isn't, so this might be a great solution to keep your paint fresh and ready to go. And then there's something that I talk about a lot on my channel, and if you watch me for a longer time, you may know. But I really like to add some gesso in my paint. I have showed it before, but because I'm showing some tricks and art hacks, I think I have to include this one. I have the gesso primer by Talents, and it doesn't matter. You can get a black gesso if you like it. It will turn out dark. If you use a white gesso like me, the color will change a little, but it will be amazing. Let me show you. On the tubes of acrylic paint, there's always this little square on the bottom. And the little square is telling you how opaque the paint will look. So you have one black, it's really opaque on the page, and you have probably at one layer of paint is enough to cover the background and create a nice result. This one is semi-opaque, so you might need multiple coats. You might be okay, I don't know. And then there is also the transparent square. And the paint is really translucent and won't be as opaque as it might want. So the little trick that I'm using, let me show you. I can use this one, it's okay. I only need a little drop for this demonstration. Just a little bit of paint. So you can see every stroke, right? And if you go over it again and again and again, you don't get a very nice opaque coverage of the paint. if you add in a little drop of gesso, let me open it. Just pick up a little bit of gesso. It's enough for me to show you. I don't want to have a lot of paint laying around that I won't use. I'm not using the paint on a background or just a little bit. So I will mix it with the gesso. You can see the color is really lighter than before. Oh, I might want to add in a little bit more gesso also. And you can buy the big gesso, the bucket of gesso for, yeah, I think it was 12 euros. It might be a little bit more expensive at the moment because I bought it a few years ago and I have still plenty left. It won't go bad very quickly, so you can see the color will change and it depends on the gesso you will add. But the paint is really opaque. You can see. You can add in more dark colors, you can get creative and really I'm in love with this technique. As you can see, just one coat of paint will be okay to cover up your backgrounds, the base of a painting or anything perfectly. So that is a little tip that I wanted to give you today. A little bonus that I've shown before, but I know there are some new people, new viewers, and they don't know what I mean when I'm talking about adding gesso to the paint. Well, this is what I'm doing, and you can go by the feeling you want, right? If you don't are not sure, if you added enough, you can always use a little printer paper, have a little test, see how the coverage is, and yeah, have fun with it. But the only downside is that you will have a different color. It is not exactly, you can brighten it up if you like to add more of the paint, but for now, I think it's really cool. You get rid of the brush strokes, you get a nice coverage, you can create a lot of different shades by adding more or less of the paint, and yeah, I really like this little trick. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time. Bye!